Welcome to this deep dive into the material you've shared. We're jumping right into, well, a really fascinating topic today.
Yes, it looks at how social movements acted as a check on presidential power, specifically focusing on the Trump administration.
Right, and what's immediately striking, I think, from the sources is how it pushes back against the idea that, someone that powerful is kind of beyond influence.
Exactly. The material shows that a lot of the significant opposition didn't just come from, say, politicians or the courts. It often started with ordinary people, grassroots movements.
That's the core idea we want to unpack, right? So our mission here is to explore how that actually worked. How did this bottom-up power really show up and make a difference, according to these sources?
Well, let's start with something really visible. The sources point right to the day after the 2017 inauguration, the Women's March.
Millions of people. It was huge.
Huge. And it wasn't just one issue. The protests covered sexism, inequality, perceived threats to democratic values, a whole range of concerns.
And the material emphasizes this wasn't just a flash in the pan, was it? It sort of kicked off a longer wave of activism.
That's right. It sparked this sustained increase in community involvement. Then fast forward a bit to the summer of 2020.
Black Lives Matter. After George Floyd's murder.
Yes, a global surge. And while the focus was absolutely on police violence, the analysis you shared highlights something else too.
What's that pay?
It shows how the demonstrations directly confronted the administration's rhetoric, the language around race, the perceived disregard for civil rights.
So tackling the tone and the words, not just specific policies. Interesting. But it's not all about massive marches, is it? How else did these movements exert pressure?
Oh, definitely not just marches.
Yeah.
The sources detail a lot of online coordination, mobilizing people quickly, pushing hashtags.
Like hashtag Me Too. That certainly changed conversations.
Exactly like hashtag #MeToo. While not solely focused on one figure, it massively shifted culture and put pressure everywhere, including on political figures. And they also, directly lobbied legislators, targeted campaigns.
The Sunrise Movement gets mentioned too, right? Youth activists focused on climate.
Yes, pushing for climate justice, opposing fossil fuel policies, often directly clashing with the administration's stated goals.
Okay, so we see the actions. What about the impact? Do these movements actually change things, according to the material?
The sources argue yes. They influenced media coverage, definitely. They prompted some companies to change how they operate or what they support. And crucially, they impacted elections.
How so?
Well, there are examples cited, like progressive candidates Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez harnessing that grassroots energy, winning seats, and actually bringing movement goals, environmental action, social justice into Congress.
So a direct pathway from the street to the Capitol, in a sense.
And then there's the legal side. Can't forget that. Groups like the ACLU and the NAACP,
Long-standing advocacy groups, what do?
they filed lawsuits, lots of them, challenging administration policies on immigration, civil rights, LGBTQ+ protections.
And the sources say they had success.
Significant success, yes. Real legal victories that blocked or altered policies. This legal pressure, often amplified by the broader movements, had tangible results.
So if you pull back, what's the main takeaway from the sources here?
I think the core idea presented is pretty fundamental. Social movements don't need an invitation to challenge power.
Right. They just organize.
Yeah.
They voice opposition. They adapt.
Exactly. And the evidence laid out suggests that even a very powerful individual isn't immune to that pressure. It really underscores this idea about democracy, doesn't it?
That accountability isn't just formal checks and balances.
Right. That it's often really energized from the grassroots, that true accountability, in many ways, starts there.
So wrapping up this deep dive, the material really paints a picture where power isn't just top-down. This organized action from below, it genuinely shapes things, holds power accountable. It might make you rethink where influence really lies.
Definitely. And maybe a final thought to leave you with, based on all this material we've looked at, considering the different movements discussed, Women's March, BLM, Sunrise, hashtag #MeToo, which one do you think ultimately had the most profound, lasting impact on American politics over the last decade? Something to ponder.